30 years old, no critical life skills, completely unprepared for adult responsibility. This is reality for most men today. They reach 30 having never learned essential capabilities that previous generations considered basic requirements for manhood. They cannot handle money. They cannot navigate conflict. They cannot maintain their physical health systematically. They cannot manage their emotions. They cannot build or fix anything. They cannot communicate effectively. They have advanced degrees but lack fundamental life competence. This creates crises. Unprepared men face adult challenges without adult capabilities. Relationships fail because they lack relationship skills. Careers stagnate because they lack professional skills beyond narrow technical specialty. Health deteriorates because they lack health management skills. Finances collapse because they lack money skills. Life becomes a series of crises they cannot handle. Meanwhile, small percentage of men enter their 30s with complete skill foundation. They handle money competently. They navigate conflict effectively. They maintain health systematically. They regulate emotions productively. They communicate clearly. They solve practical problems. These men are not exceptional. They simply acquired essential skills intentionally. The difference is preparation. Unprepared men assumed skills would appear naturally or that narrow specialization was sufficient. Prepared men recognized essential skills must be learned deliberately and invested in acquiring them. Here is critical insight. There is no age limit on skill acquisition. If you are past 30 and lack these skills, you are not doomed. Skills are learnable at any age. The question is whether you will acquire them deliberately or continue drifting without them. This audiobook identifies 10 essential skills every man must master regardless of age. Not nice to have skills. Not optional luxuries. Essential capabilities required for competent adult life. Skills that separate men who navigate life successfully from men who struggle perpetually. You will learn why these specific skills are essential, not optional. What happens when men lack them? How to acquire each skill systematically. How to assess your current level honestly. How to close gaps deliberately. How these skills compound creating life competence. Stop drifting through life lacking fundamental capabilities. Start acquiring essential skills deliberately. Master essential skills by 30, or learn them after 30. Either way, acquire them. Now, introduction. Why skill gaps create life crises. There are two types of men navigating adult life. The first type lacks essential skills. They have impressive credentials, advanced degrees, specialized expertise, professional success in narrow domain, but they cannot handle basic life challenges. Money stress is constant. Relationships are chaotic. Health declines. Practical problems overwhelm them. They are competent in one narrow area and incompetent everywhere else. The second type has essential skill foundation. They may or may not have impressive credentials, but they handle life competently across domains. Money is managed. Relationships are stable. Health is maintained. Problems are solved. They are broadly competent across adult life requirements. Here is what you need to understand about essential skills. They are not taught systematically anywhere. Schools do not teach them. Universities ignore them. Professional training is too specialized. Most men are expected to acquire essential skills through osmosis. This expectation fails for most men. Previous generations acquired essential skills through different mechanisms. Apprenticeships taught practical skills. Mentorship taught relationship and communication skills. Necessity taught money and health skills when safety nets were weaker. Community provided accountability and guidance. These mechanisms transmitted essential skills between generations. Modern society has weakened or eliminated these transmission mechanisms. Apprenticeships are rare. Mentorship is absent. Safety nets reduce immediate necessity. Community is fragmented. This creates generation of men reaching adulthood without essential skill transmission. The result is predictable. Men in their 30s and 40s lacking skills their grandfathers had at 18. Not because modern men are inferior, because transmission mechanisms failed and no deliberate acquisition replaced them. This creates specific problems. Financial stress from lack of money management skills. Relationship failure from lack of conflict navigation and communication skills. Health crisis from lack of body maintenance skills. Career stagnation from lack of professional presence and networking skills. Practical helplessness from lack of basic competence skills. These problems compound. Financial stress damages relationships. Health problems reduce career effectiveness. Lack of practical skills creates dependence. The skill gaps interact, creating cascading failures. But here is essential insight. All of these skills are acquirable at any age. If you are 35 or 45 and lack them, you can acquire them deliberately through focused learning. Age is not barrier. Deliberate acquisition works regardless of when you begin. This audiobook covers 10 essential skills organized into 5 domains. Physical domain includes body maintenance and practical competence. Financial domain includes money management. Social domain includes conflict navigation and clear communication. Professional domain includes presence and networking. Psychological domain includes emotional regulation and decision-making under pressure. Each skill has specific learning path. Assessment of current level. Identification of gaps. Systematic acquisition through practice. Integration into daily life. These paths work whether you are 25 acquiring skills proactively or 45 acquiring skills you should have learned decades ago. Let's examine each essential skill. Skill 1. Body maintenance, managing physical health systematically. The first essential skill every man must master is body maintenance, ability to manage physical health systematically through exercise, nutrition, and recovery, preventing the deterioration most men accept as inevitable. Most men have no systematic approach to physical health. They eat randomly. They exercise sporadically or not at all. They ignore recovery. They assume youth will preserve health indefinitely. Then they reach 35 or 40 and health deteriorates rapidly. Energy drops. Body composition degrades. Minor injuries become chronic. They wonder what happened. What happened is lack of body maintenance skill. Health is not automatic. Health requires systematic maintenance. Without maintenance system, deterioration is guaranteed. Here is how to develop body maintenance skill. First, understand that body maintenance is system, not motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Systems persist. Waiting for motivation to exercise or eat well guarantees failure. Building system that executes regardless of motivation guarantees success. Body maintenance system has 3 components. Movement component ensuring regular physical activity. Nutrition component ensuring adequate fuel and recovery nutrition. Recovery component ensuring sleep and stress management. All 3 components must function or system fails. Second, build movement habit executing minimum 3 sessions weekly. Movement does not require gym membership or complex programming. Movement requires showing up consistently and moving your body under resistance. Minimum effective movement is resistance training 3 times weekly for 30 to 45 minutes. This can be bodyweight training at home, barbell training at gym, or any resistance modality. The critical factor is consistency and progressive challenge. Build this habit first. Schedule 3 weekly sessions. Execute them without exception. This consistency habit is foundation. Everything else builds on it. Third, establish basic nutrition framework ensuring adequate protein and controlling calories. Nutrition does not require perfect diet or complex meal planning. Nutrition requires meeting basic requirements consistently. Basic nutrition framework is adequate protein daily, approximately your body weight in pounds times 0.7 to 1.0 grams. Calorie intake matched to goals. Maintenance for weight stability. Slight deficit for fat loss. Slight surplus for muscle gain. Majority of diet from whole foods, not processed foods. This framework is simple enough to maintain indefinitely. Track protein ensuring adequacy. Monitor weight ensuring calories are appropriate for goals. Eat mostly whole foods. This covers 90% of nutrition requirements. Fourth, protect sleep getting minimum 7 hours nightly. Sleep is not luxury. Sleep is foundation for everything else. Without adequate sleep, training does not work. Nutrition does not work. Recovery does not happen. Health deteriorates. Protect sleep by establishing consistent sleep schedule. Same bedtime and wake time daily. Adequate sleep opportunity. Minimum 8 hours in bed to get 7 hours sleep. Sleep hygiene, removing screens before bed and keeping room dark and cool. Non-negotiable minimum is 7 hours. Optimal is 8 hours. Prioritize this above entertainment or productivity theater. Fifth, implement regular health monitoring catching problems early. Most men ignore health until crisis forces attention. This reactive approach allows small problems to become major crises. Proactive monitoring is annual physical with blood work, regular blood pressure checks, body composition assessment quarterly, awareness of energy levels, recovery quality, and injury patterns. This monitoring catches problems while still small and addressable. Early detection of high blood pressure, poor metabolic markers, or developing injuries allows intervention before crisis. Ignoring these signals until crisis is incompetent health management. Sixth, address problems immediately rather than ignoring and hoping they resolve. Men have tendency to ignore physical problems hoping they disappear. Minor injury ignored becomes chronic injury. Poor blood work ignored becomes disease. This avoidance creates major problems from minor issues. When monitoring reveals problem, address it immediately. See appropriate professional. Adjust training or nutrition. Take recovery seriously. Immediate intervention prevents minor problems from becoming major crises. 7th, view body maintenance as non-negotiable responsibility, not optional hobby. This is critical mindset shift. Exercise is not hobby you do when motivated. Nutrition is not diet you follow temporarily. Sleep is not luxury you sacrifice for productivity. Body maintenance is non-negotiable responsibility, like brushing teeth or showing up to work. You do it because adult life requires it. This mindset shift makes consistency automatic rather than requiring constant motivation. Men who master body maintenance have energy, health, and physical capability throughout life. Men who lack this skill watch health deteriorate in their 30s and 40s, accepting deterioration as inevitable, when it was actually preventable through systematic maintenance. This is first essential skill. Develop systematic body maintenance. Build movement habit. Establish nutrition framework. Protect sleep. Implement health monitoring. Address problems immediately. View maintenance as non-negotiable responsibility. Your physical health is foundation for everything else. Maintain it systematically. Skill 2. Practical competence, solving basic problems without helplessness. The second essential skill every man must master is practical competence, ability to solve basic mechanical, technical, and household problems without helpless dependence on experts for every minor issue. Most men today are practically helpless. Something breaks and they immediately call expert. Minor household problem becomes expensive service call. Car needs basic maintenance and they are completely dependent on mechanics. They cannot fix, build, or maintain anything. This helplessness is expensive, creates dependence, and signals incompetence. Practical competence does not require becoming expert tradesmen. Practical competence requires handling common problems yourself and knowing when expert is actually necessary versus when you are being lazy or helpless. Here is how to develop practical competence. First, acquire basic tool literacy, understanding what common tools do and how to use them safely. You do not need comprehensive workshop. You need basic tool set and knowledge to use it. Basic tool set includes hammer, screwdrivers both flathead and Phillips in multiple sizes, adjustable wrench, pliers, tape measure, level, utility knife, drill with bits. This basic set handles majority of household tasks. Learn what each tool does and how to use it safely. Watch instructional videos. Practice on low-stakes projects. Build familiarity until tools feel natural, not foreign. Second, learn basic household maintenance, preventing problems through routine care. Most household problems are preventable through simple maintenance. Lack of maintenance creates expensive repairs. Basic household maintenance includes changing HVAC filters quarterly, cleaning gutters twice yearly, checking and maintaining caulking around water fixtures, testing smoke and carbon monoxide detectors monthly, winterizing outdoor faucets, maintaining appliances per manufacturer guidance. These simple maintenance tasks prevent expensive problems. Neglecting them guarantees problems. Learning and executing routine maintenance is fundamental competence. Third, develop troubleshooting mindset, approaching problems systematically, not randomly. When something does not work, most men either give up immediately or randomly try things hoping something works. Neither approach is competent. Systematic troubleshooting is identifying what is not working, researching likely causes, testing causes systematically, implementing solution. This approach works for household, car, technology, or any problem. Example for toilet not flushing. Identify problem. Water not filling tank. Research likely causes. Supply valve closed. Fill valve broken. Float stuck. Test systematically. Check supply valve first. Check fill valve second. Check float third. Implement solution based on identified cause. This systematic approach means you can solve problems you have never encountered by following logical process. Fourth, attempt solutions before calling experts, building confidence through successful problem solving. Every time you immediately call expert for minor problem, you reinforce helplessness. Every time you successfully solve problem yourself, you build competence and confidence. Attempt solution first. Research the problem. Try reasonable fix. If unsuccessful after genuine attempt, then call expert. But attempt first. This builds skill and saves enormous money over time. Many problems seem complex, but are actually simple when approached systematically. You will be surprised how many service calls are unnecessary once you develop competence to try. Fifth, learn basic car maintenance, reducing dependence and expense. Cars require regular maintenance. Depending entirely on mechanics for all maintenance is expensive and creates vulnerability. Learn basic car maintenance, including checking and adding fluids, changing oil if possible, replacing air filters, checking tire pressure and tread, replacing wiper blades, jump-starting battery, changing flat tire. These basic skills reduce dependence and expense significantly. You do not need to rebuild engines. You need to handle routine maintenance yourself and understand enough to communicate intelligently with mechanics when professional help is needed. Sixth, develop resourcefulness using internet research, solving new problems. Modern practical competence includes knowing how to find and follow instructions for unfamiliar tasks. Nearly any household or basic repair task has instructional video or written guide online. Practical competence includes finding these resources, evaluating quality, and following instructions successfully. This means you are not limited to problems you already know how to solve. You can solve new problems by finding and following good instructions. This dramatically expands your practical competence. Seventh, know limits, calling expert when actually necessary, not just when convenient. Practical competence includes knowing when problem requires professional expertise. Attempting electrical or plumbing beyond your skill creates danger. Attempting structural repairs without knowledge creates safety issues. Competence is attempting what you can handle and calling expert when necessary. Incompetence is either attempting everything including dangerous tasks or calling expert for everything including trivial tasks. Learn to assess what is within your capability and what requires expert. This judgment improves with experience. Men who master practical competence save thousands annually in service calls, maintain their property and vehicles competently, feel confident rather than helpless when problems arise, and signal competence, not dependence. Men who lack this skill bleed money on service calls, feel helpless constantly, and signal incompetence to everyone around them. This is second essential skill. Develop practical competence. Acquire basic tool literacy. Learn household maintenance. Develop troubleshooting mindset. Attempt solutions before calling experts. Learn basic car maintenance. Use internet research, solving new problems. Know limits, calling expert when necessary. Stop being practically helpless. Build basic competence. Skill 3. Money management, controlling finances, preventing perpetual stress. The third essential skill every man must master is money management. Ability to control income and expenses, preventing the financial stress that destroys relationships and limits life options. Most men have no systematic money management. They earn income but have no idea where it goes. Expenses feel out of control. Savings are minimal or non-existent. Debt accumulates. Financial stress is constant. They make good income but feel broke perpetually. This is not income problem. This is money management skill problem. Money management is not complex. Money management requires awareness of income and expenses, conscious allocation decisions, and execution discipline. Men who master this skill have financial peace regardless of income level. Men who lack it have financial stress regardless of income level. Here is how to develop money management skill. First, track every expense for minimum 1 month, creating awareness of where money actually goes. Most men have no idea where their money goes. They know big expenses like rent or mortgage, but small expenses are invisible. These invisible expenses total thousands annually. Track everything for 1 month. Every coffee, every meal, every subscription, every purchase. Use a BP or spreadsheet. This tracking creates awareness, showing where money actually goes versus where you think it goes. This awareness is shocking for most men. You will discover hundreds or thousands going to things you do not value. This awareness enables change. Second, create zero-based budget, allocating every dollar of income to a specific purpose. Budget is not restriction. Budget is plan. You are deciding consciously where money goes rather than wondering where it went. Zero-based budget means income minus all allocations equals zero. Every dollar has purpose. Fixed expenses like rent, utilities, insurance are allocated. Variable expenses like food, entertainment, personal spending are allocated. Savings and debt repayment are allocated. Nothing is unallocated. This conscious allocation means you control money rather than money controlling you. You decide how money is used rather than drifting unconsciously. Third, implement savings automation, ensuring savings happens regardless of willpower. Waiting to save what is left over after spending guarantees no savings. Nothing is left over. Automation ensures savings happens first. Set up automatic transfer from checking to savings account on payday. Minimum 10 to 15% of income. This money is saved before you see it. Remaining money is available for expenses and discretionary spending. Automation removes decision fatigue and willpower requirement. Savings happens automatically regardless of how you feel. Fourth, eliminate or minimize high-interest debt through aggressive repayment. High-interest debt, credit cards above 15% interest, is wealth destroyer. Minimum payments keep you in debt indefinitely. Aggressive repayment eliminates burden. List all high-interest debt by balance and interest rate. Use debt avalanche method, paying minimums on all debt while putting all extra money toward highest interest debt first. When that is eliminated, move to next highest interest debt. This systematic approach eliminates high-interest debt completely, often within 1 to 3 years depending on debt load. The freedom and cash flow improvement is life-changing. Fifth, build emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months expenses, preventing crisis from unexpected expense. Without emergency fund, unexpected expense becomes crisis. Car repair, medical bill, job loss. These create financial disaster without buffer. Emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of expenses in accessible savings account, not for vacation or purchase, for actual emergencies. This fund prevents crisis and eliminates financial anxiety. Build this systematically through savings automation. This is priority after eliminating high interest debt. With emergency fund, financial stability is possible. Without it, you are perpetually one crisis away from disaster. Sixth, understand difference between assets and liabilities, making informed financial decisions. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money from your pocket. Most men do not understand this distinction, making poor financial decisions. House you live in is liability, not asset. It takes money from you through mortgage, maintenance, taxes, insurance. Rental property that generates profit is asset. It puts money in your pocket. Understanding this distinction changes decision-making. You minimize liabilities. You acquire assets. This is foundation of wealth building versus wealth consumption. Seventh, increase income through skill development and negotiation, not just through expense management. Money management includes both sides of equation. Controlling expenses is necessary. Increasing income accelerates progress. Develop valuable skills that increase earning potential. Negotiate raises rather than accepting whatever is offered. Explore side income if primary income is insufficient. Income improvement combined with expense management creates financial security much faster than expense management alone. Men who master money management have financial peace, options, and security regardless of income level. Men who lack this skill have perpetual financial stress, no options, and constant vulnerability regardless of income level. Financial competence is not about income size. Financial competence is about management skill. This is third essential skill. Develop money management. Track expenses, creating awareness. Create zero-based budget, allocating every dollar. Implement savings automation. Eliminate high interest debt aggressively. Build emergency fund. Understand assets versus liabilities. Increase income through skill development. Take control of your money. Skill 4. Conflict navigation, handling disagreement without destruction. The fourth essential skill every man must master is conflict navigation. Ability to handle disagreement and tension productively, rather than avoiding conflict entirely or escalating it destructively. Most men handle conflict poorly in one of two ways. First type avoids all conflict. They suppress disagreement, agree to things they resent, never express needs or boundaries. This avoidance creates resentment that eventually explodes or leads to passive-aggressive behavior, destroying relationships. Second type escalates conflict. They react emotionally, attack personally, create drama. This escalation damages relationships and prevents resolution. Neither avoidance nor escalation is competent conflict navigation. Competent conflict navigation is addressing disagreement directly while maintaining respect and working toward resolution. This skill is essential because all meaningful relationships involve conflict. Romantic relationships, friendships, work relationships, family relationships, all create conflict. How you handle that conflict determines whether relationships thrive or fail. Here is how to develop conflict navigation skill. First, recognize that conflict is normal and necessary, not sign of relationship failure. Many men believe good relationships have no conflict. This belief makes them avoid necessary conversations or panic when disagreement appears. Reality is that healthy relationships have regular conflict. Conflict is how different people with different needs negotiate shared life. Absence of conflict usually means someone is suppressing needs or avoiding honesty. Presence of conflict means people care enough to be honest. The question is not whether conflict exists, but whether it is handled productively. Reframing conflict as normal removes fear that prevents competent navigation. Second, address conflict early when issues are small rather than waiting until resentment builds. Most destructive conflicts are actually old conflicts that were avoided until explosion. Small disagreement ignored becomes medium resentment. Medium resentment ignored becomes major explosion. Early addressing prevents escalation. When something bothers you, address it promptly while it is still small. This prevents resentment accumulation and keeps conflicts manageable. This requires overcoming discomfort with conflict. Short-term discomfort of early conversation prevents long-term disaster of avoided conflict exploding. Third, use clear direct communication stating your position and needs without attacking other person. Most conflict fails because communication is unclear or aggressive. Unclear communication leaves other person guessing what you want. Aggressive communication makes other person defensive, preventing resolution. Clear direct communication states your position and needs explicitly. I need this. I feel this way when that happens. I want to find solution to this problem. This clarity allows productive discussion. Direct does not mean aggressive. You can be clear without being attacking. Describe the behavior that bothers you. State how it affects you. Request specific change. This formula keeps communication clear without personal attack. Fourth, listen to understand other person's position, not just to respond. Most men listen defensively during conflict. They are planning their response, defending their position, preparing counterargument. They are not actually hearing the other person. Listening to understand means focusing on what other person is saying and why they see it that way. Ask clarifying questions. Repeat back what you heard. Try to see situation from their perspective, even if you disagree. This understanding does not require agreement, but understanding allows finding solutions that work for both people. Without understanding, you are just fighting about positions without addressing underlying needs. Fifth, separate problem solving from emotion management, allowing both to happen without interference. Conflicts have two components. Emotional component, people feel hurt, angry, frustrated. Practical component, there is problem needing solution. Most conflicts fail because these get mixed together. Acknowledge emotion first. I can see this frustrates you. I understand why you feel that way. This emotional acknowledgement allows emotion to settle. Then address problem separately. Now, let us figure out how to solve this. Trying to solve problem while emotion is high rarely works. Trying to make emotion go away without solving problem does not work. Separate them. Manage emotion. Then solve problem. Sixth, focus on solution, not on blame or being right. Many men approach conflict as contest to be won. They focus on proving they were right and other person was wrong. This makes resolution impossible because one person must lose. Solution focus is different. Given that we disagree, how do we move forward productively? What solution works for both of us? How do we prevent this problem from repeating? This shifts from right versus wrong to workable versus unworkable. Solutions become possible when winning is not required. Seventh, know when to disengage temporarily, allowing cooling before returning to discussion. Some conflicts become too heated for productive discussion. Emotion escalates past a point where rational problem solving is possible. Continuing discussion in this state creates damage without progress. Competent disengagement is recognizing heat level and proposing temporary pause. I need to cool down before we continue this. Let us return to this in 2 hours. This is not avoiding conflict. This is managing conflict competently by allowing emotion to settle before attempting resolution. Critical is actually returning to discussion after cooling. Temporary pause is productive. Permanent avoidance is not. Men who master conflict navigation maintain healthy relationships despite inevitable disagreement. Men who lack this skill either avoid conflict creating resentment and passive aggression, or escalate conflict destroying relationships through unnecessary drama. Conflict competence is relationship competence. This is fourth essential skill. Develop conflict navigation. Recognize conflict is normal and necessary. Address conflict early when small. Use clear direct communication. Listen to understand, not just to respond. Separate emotion management from problem solving. Focus on solution, not blame. Know when to disengage temporarily. Handle disagreement productively, not destructively. Skill 5. Clear communication, expressing thoughts and needs effectively. The fifth essential skill every man must master is clear communication. Ability to express thoughts, needs, and positions effectively in both professional and personal contexts. Most men communicate poorly. They assume others should understand without clear expression. They speak vaguely hoping others will figure out what they mean. They avoid difficult conversations entirely. They cannot articulate positions clearly in professional settings. This poor communication creates misunderstanding, resentment, and missed opportunities. Clear communication does not require being eloquent or charismatic. Clear communication requires expressing yourself explicitly so others understand your meaning. This skill is essential because nearly everything in adult life requires communication. Professional success requires communicating competently with colleagues, clients, and superiors. Relationship success requires communicating needs and boundaries clearly. Social success requires expressing yourself in ways others can understand. Here is how to develop clear communication skill. First, understand that others cannot read your mind, and unclear communication is your responsibility, not theirs. Many men become frustrated when others do not understand them. They blame others for not figuring out what they meant. This is backwards. If communication was unclear, that is communicator's responsibility. Others are not responsible for decoding your vague hints or reading your mind. You are responsible for clear, explicit expression. This mindset shift makes you a better communicator because you take ownership of clarity. Second, state requests and needs explicitly rather than hinting and hoping others notice. Many men communicate through hints hoping others will notice and respond. I am tired becomes hint that partner should handle something. I am stressed becomes hint that friend should offer help. These hints often fail because they are not explicit. Explicit communication states request directly. I need you to handle dinner tonight. I need to talk through this problem. Can you help me with this? Direct requests allow others to respond appropriately. Hints create confusion and resentment when others miss them. This directness feels uncomfortable for men socialized to avoid asking. But directness is actually more respectful. It allows others to respond honestly rather than guessing what you want. Third, organize thoughts before speaking in professional contexts, ensuring coherent expression. Many men speak without organizing thoughts. They ramble. They include irrelevant details. They bury important points. Listeners lose track of message. In professional settings, organize thoughts before speaking. What is main point? What supporting points matter? What is unnecessary? Present main point first. Add necessary support. Omit tangents. This organization makes your communication clear and respects others' time. Rambling communication signals unclear thinking and wastes time. Fourth, use concrete specific language rather than vague abstractions. Vague language creates misunderstanding. We should do better. We need to improve communication. These vague statements give no actionable information. Concrete specific language creates clarity. I need you to respond to emails within 24 hours. I need you to tell me directly when something bothers you rather than expecting me to notice. These concrete statements allow action. Replace vague language with concrete specifics. What specifically do you mean? What specific action are you requesting? This concreteness prevents misunderstanding. Fifth, check for understanding rather than assuming message was received correctly. You can speak clearly and listener can still misunderstand. Checking for understanding reveals misunderstanding before it creates problems. After communicating something important, check understanding. What did you hear me say? How do you understand this request? This reveals whether message landed as intended. If misunderstanding exists, you can correct it immediately. If understanding is correct, you have confirmation. Either way, checking prevents problems from unclear communication. Sixth, develop ability to say no directly without extensive justification or guilt. Many men cannot say no directly. They make excuses. They over-explain. They feel guilty for having boundaries. This inability to say no creates overcommitment and resentment. Direct no is complete sentence. No, I cannot do that. No, that does not work for me. Brief explanation is fine if you choose, but extensive justification is unnecessary. Practice direct no without guilt. Your time and energy are finite. Saying no to some things allows saying yes to what matters. This is boundary setting, not selfishness. Seventh, adapt communication style to context and audience, maintaining effectiveness across situations. Communication that works with friends may not work in professional setting. Communication that works with one person may not work with another. Adaptable communicator reads context and audience. Professional setting requires more formal, precise communication. Casual setting allows more relaxed communication. Some people respond to direct communication. Others need gentler approach. This adaptation does not mean being fake. This means recognizing that effective communication matches context and audience rather than using same style everywhere. Men who master clear communication navigate professional environments effectively, maintain healthy relationships through clear expression of needs, avoid misunderstanding through explicit communication, and set boundaries without guilt. Men who lack this skill struggle professionally due to poor communication, create relationship problems through vague expression, and overcommit because they cannot say no. This is fifth essential skill. Develop clear communication. Take responsibility for clarity, not blaming others for misunderstanding. State requests and needs explicitly, not through hints. Organize thoughts before speaking professionally. Use concrete, specific language, not vague abstractions. Check for understanding. Develop ability to say no directly. Adapt communication style to context and audience. Express yourself clearly in all contexts. Skill 6. Professional presence, commanding respect in work environments. The sixth essential skill every man must master is professional presence, ability to command respect and be taken seriously in professional environments through competent behavior and presentation. Most men undermine themselves professionally through poor presence. They dress carelessly. They communicate unprofessionally. They miss deadlines. They fail to manage up effectively. They wonder why they are not promoted or respected while signaling through behavior that they should not be taken seriously. Professional presence is not fake corporate persona. Professional presence is demonstrating through consistent behavior that you are a competent professional who delivers results and can be trusted with responsibility. This skill is essential because professional success requires being taken seriously by colleagues, superiors, and clients. Here is how to develop professional presence. First, understand that professional presence is behavior pattern, not personality trait. You do not need to be extroverted or charismatic. You need to consistently demonstrate competence and reliability through behavior. Professional presence behaviors include showing up on time, delivering work on deadline, communicating clearly and professionally, dressing appropriately for context, managing commitments responsibly, and treating others with respect. These behaviors are learnable and executable by anyone regardless of personality. Second, dress appropriately for your professional context, signaling you take work seriously. Appropriate dress varies by industry and role. Corporate finance requires different dress than creative startup, but principle is same. Your appearance should signal you take role seriously, not that you rolled out of bed. Observe what respected people in your field wear. Match that standard or slightly exceed it. This is not about expensive clothes. This is about appearing put together and appropriate. Poor dress signals you do not care about professional impression. Good dress signals you are serious professional. This affects how others perceive your competence, even if consciously they claim dress does not matter. Third, communicate professionally in all work contexts using appropriate language and tone. Professional communication is clear, direct, respectful, and free of unnecessary casualness. Text-speak, excessive informality, and unprofessional language undermine professional presence. In emails, use proper grammar and complete sentences. In meetings, speak clearly without excessive filler words. In presentations, be prepared and organized. This professional communication signals competence. This does not mean being rigid or fake. This means recognizing professional context requires professional communication standard. Fourth, manage time and commitments, delivering work on promised timeline consistently. Nothing destroys professional presence faster than consistently missing deadlines or failing to deliver on commitments. Reliability is foundation of professional trust. When you commit to deadline, deliver on deadline, or communicate early if problem prevents delivery. When you say you will handle something, handle it. When you schedule meeting, show up on time. Consistent reliability builds reputation as someone who can be trusted with responsibility. Consistent unreliability builds reputation as someone who cannot be trusted. Fifth, manage up effectively, keeping supervisors informed and making their job easier. Many men ignore relationship with supervisor or actively make supervisor's job harder. This prevents advancement regardless of technical competence. Managing up means keeping supervisor informed of progress, raising problems early with proposed solutions, asking for feedback and direction when needed, and generally making supervisor's job easier, not harder. Supervisor who trusts you requires less oversight and can focus on other priorities. This makes you valuable. Supervisor who must constantly check on you or clean up your messes sees you as liability. Sixth, build professional network through genuine relationship development, not transactional networking. Professional opportunities come through relationships. Men who isolate themselves professionally limit opportunities regardless of competence. Professional networking is not fake schmoozing. Professional networking is building genuine relationships with colleagues, mentors, and others in your field through providing value and maintaining contact. help others when possible, share knowledge, make introductions, maintain relationships even when you do not need anything. This creates network that provides information, opportunities, and support throughout career. Seventh, develop specialized expertise, making yourself valuable, not replaceable. Competent generalist is replaceable. Expert with rare valuable skill is not replaceable. Professional presence includes being known for something valuable. Identify skill or knowledge area in your field where you can develop expertise beyond average practitioner. Invest in developing that expertise through deliberate learning and practice. Become the person others go to for that expertise. This specialized value combined with professional reliability creates strong professional presence. You are both dependable and valuable, making you indispensable. Men who master professional presence advance in careers, command respect from colleagues and superiors, receive opportunities others miss, and have professional security through reputation and relationships. Men who lack this skill struggle professionally despite technical competence, because they signal through behavior they should not be taken seriously. This is sixth essential skill. Develop professional presence. Dress appropriately for context. Communicate professionally in all work contexts. Manage time and commitments reliably. Manage upkeeping supervisors informed. Build professional network through genuine relationships. Develop specialized expertise. Command professional respect through consistent competent behavior. Skill 7. Emotional regulation, managing feelings productively. The seventh essential skill every man must master is emotional regulation. Ability to manage emotional states productively, rather than being controlled by emotions or suppressing them destructively. Most men handle emotions poorly in one of two ways. First type suppresses all emotion. They push down feelings, refuse to acknowledge emotional experience, view emotions as weakness. This suppression creates anxiety, depression, and eventual explosion. Second type is controlled by emotion. They react emotionally without filter, make decisions based on feelings, cannot function when emotions are intense. This emotional reactivity creates chaos and poor decisions. Neither suppression nor uncontrolled reactivity is competent emotional regulation. Competent emotional regulation is acknowledging emotions, managing their intensity, and responding to situations thoughtfully rather than reactively. This skill is essential because emotions affect everything. Unmanaged emotions destroy relationships, careers, health, and decision-making. Here is how to develop emotional regulation skill. First, develop awareness of your emotional states, recognizing what you feel when you feel it. Many men are completely unaware of their emotions until they explode. They go from fine to furious without noticing escalation. This lack of awareness prevents management. Emotional awareness is checking in with yourself regularly. What am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? What triggered this feeling? This awareness creates space for management. Practice emotional check-ins throughout day. Notice emotions as they arise rather than being blindsided by them. This awareness is foundation for regulation. Second, understand that emotions are information, not commands requiring immediate action. Emotions signal something needs attention. Anger signals boundary violation or injustice. Anxiety signals perceived threat. Sadness signals loss. But emotions do not dictate action. You can feel anger without acting on anger. You can feel anxiety without avoiding everything. You can feel sadness without collapsing. Emotions provide information. You decide action based on thoughtful assessment, not emotional impulse. This separation between feeling and action is core of emotional regulation. Feel the emotion. Process the information. Choose response consciously. Third, use physical regulation techniques, managing emotional intensity. Emotions have physical component. High-intensity emotion creates physical arousal, making thoughtful response difficult. Physical regulation techniques reduce intensity, allowing thoughtful response. Physical regulation includes deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, physical exercise, cold exposure. These techniques activate physiological systems that reduce emotional arousal. When you notice emotion intensity rising, use physical regulation before responding. This prevents emotional hijacking where emotion overrides rational thought. Fourth, process emotions appropriately rather than suppressing or indulging them destructively. Suppression pushes emotions down where they accumulate, creating problems. Indulgence wallows in emotions, making them stronger. Processing acknowledges emotion, understands it, and releases it appropriately. Processing can include talking with trusted person, journaling about emotion, physical release through exercise, or allowing yourself to feel emotion fully for limited time, then returning to function. Key is emotion is acknowledged and processed, not suppressed or indulged indefinitely. Healthy processing allows emotion to flow through you rather than getting stuck. Fifth, separate legitimate emotional responses from habitual emotional patterns. Some emotions are appropriate responses to situation. Some emotions are habitual patterns triggered automatically regardless of situation appropriateness. Legitimate emotional response is anger when genuinely wronged. Habitual pattern is anger triggered by any minor frustration because anger is your default response to discomfort. Legitimate response is anxiety about real threat. Habitual pattern is anxiety about everything because anxiety is your default state. Identifying habitual patterns allows addressing root causes. Legitimate responses are managed in moment. Habitual patterns are changed through longer-term work. Sixth, develop distress tolerance, handling uncomfortable emotions without immediate escape. Many men cannot sit with uncomfortable emotion. They immediately escape through distraction, substance use, or avoidance. This escape prevents processing and creates dependence on escape mechanisms. Distress tolerance is ability to sit with uncomfortable emotion without immediately escaping. Feel anxiety without numbing it. Feel sadness without distracting from it. Feel anger without immediately reacting. This tolerance is built gradually. Sit with mild discomfort without escaping. Build capacity for moderate discomfort. Eventually, you can handle intense emotion without needing immediate escape. Seventh, know when professional help is needed for emotional struggles beyond self-management. Some emotional struggles are manageable through self-regulation. Some require professional help. Knowing difference is important. Persistent depression, anxiety that impairs function, trauma responses, or emotional patterns that do not improve despite effort. These warrant professional help. Therapy or counseling is a tool for addressing emotional struggles beyond self-management capacity. Seeking help is strength, not weakness. Competent emotional regulation includes recognizing when you need expert assistance. Men who master emotional regulation maintain stable relationships despite emotional challenges, make good decisions under stress, handle setbacks without collapse, and have emotional resilience. Men who lack this skill either suppress emotions creating internal problems or are controlled by emotions creating external chaos. This is seventh essential skill. Develop emotional regulation. Build awareness of emotional states. Understand emotions are information, not commands. Use physical regulation, managing intensity. Process emotions appropriately. Separate legitimate responses from habitual patterns. Develop distress tolerance. Know when professional help is needed. Manage emotions productively, not destructively. Skill 8. Decision-making under pressure, choosing well when stakes are high. The eighth essential skill every man must master is decision-making under pressure. Ability to make good decisions when stressed, time-constrained, or facing high stakes rather than freezing or choosing poorly. Most men make decisions poorly under pressure. They freeze, unable to choose. They make impulsive decisions without thinking. They panic and choose whatever reduces immediate stress regardless of long-term consequences. This poor pressure decision-making creates crises and missed opportunities. Decision-making under pressure is not about always choosing correctly. Decision-making under pressure is about having process that produces reasonable decisions, even in difficult circumstances. This skill is essential because important decisions often come with pressure. Career decisions, financial decisions, relationship decisions, crisis decisions, all involve pressure. Here is how to develop decision-making under pressure skill. First, understand that decision-making under pressure requires framework, not improvisation. When pressure is high, cognitive resources are reduced. Trying to figure out decision process while under pressure fails. Having predetermined framework allows good decisions despite pressure. Decision framework is systematic way of approaching any decision. Define problem clearly. Identify options. Evaluate options against criteria. Choose best option. Implement decision. This framework works under pressure because it is predetermined, not improvised. Second, practice distinguishing between urgent and important, preventing false urgency from hijacking decisions. Many pressure decisions feel urgent, but are not actually important. Pressure creates perception that immediate decision is required when actually thoughtful delay would be better. Urgent and important requires immediate decision. Urgent but not important can often be delayed or delegated. Not urgent but important should not be rushed. Not urgent and not important should be eliminated. This distinction prevents false urgency from forcing poor decisions. Just because something feels urgent does not mean immediate decision is required. Third, gather minimum necessary information before deciding rather than choosing blindly or analysis paralysis. Under pressure, two failure modes appear: deciding immediately without information, or endless information gathering preventing decision. Optimal is identifying minimum information necessary for reasonable decision. What do I actually need to know? Gather that information quickly, then decide. Additional information beyond minimum necessary provides diminishing returns. This prevents both uninformed decisions and analysis paralysis through decision delay. Fourth, use PI commitment to values and principles guiding decisions under pressure. When pressure is high, it is easy to compromise values for immediate relief. Having PI committed values prevents this. Before pressure situations arise, identify your core values and principles. What matters most to you? What lines will you not cross? What principles guide your decisions? Document these. When pressure decision arises, check against PI committed values. Does this option align with my values? This prevents pressure from causing value compromise. Fifth, implement cooling period for high-stakes decisions, preventing impulsive choice. High-stakes decisions made impulsively under pressure are often regretted. Implementing mandatory cooling period prevents this. For major decisions, commit to minimum time delay before finalizing choice. Sleep on it for decisions that can wait overnight. Wait 24 to 72 hours for very high-stakes decisions. This cooling period allows emotion to settle and rational assessment to occur. Obviously, emergency decisions requiring immediate action cannot wait, but many decisions that feel emergency actually allow short cooling period. Sixth, seek outside perspective for decisions with blind spots or high emotion. Your own thinking under pressure has limitations. High emotion creates blind spots. Personal stakes bias assessment. Outside perspective provides clarity. For important pressure decisions, consult trusted advisor who is not emotionally invested. Explain situation. Present options. Ask for perspective. This outside view reveals considerations you missed and biases you have. Choose advisor wisely. Not every opinion is valuable, but right advisor provides crucial perspective. Seventh, accept that decisions under pressure will sometimes be wrong and focus on decision quality, not outcome. Under pressure, you cannot guarantee correct outcome. You can only guarantee quality decision process. Sometimes quality process produces wrong outcome due to factors beyond your control. Focus on process quality, not outcome. Did I follow good decision framework? Did I gather necessary information? Did I consult values and outside perspective? If yes, decision was good regardless of outcome. This prevents paralysis from fear of being wrong. You make best decision possible with available information and time. Sometimes the decision is wrong. That is acceptable. Paralysis or poor process is not acceptable. Men who master decision-making under pressure handle crises effectively, make career and financial decisions competently despite stress, maintain values under pressure, and have confidence in their choices. Men who lack this skill freeze in crises, make poor impulsive decisions when stressed, compromise values under pressure, and regret choices made emotionally. This is eighth essential skill. Develop decision-making under pressure. Use predetermined decision framework, not improvisation. Distinguish urgent from important. Gather minimum necessary information. PI commit to values guiding decisions. Implement cooling period for high-stakes choices. Seek outside perspective. Focus on decision quality, not guaranteed outcome. Make good decisions even when pressure is high. Skill 9. Relationship maintenance, keeping connections healthy over time. The ninth essential skill every man must master is relationship maintenance. Ability to keep important relationships healthy through sustained effort rather than allowing them to deteriorate through neglect. Most men are terrible at relationship maintenance. They invest heavily in new relationships but neglect established ones. They assume relationships maintain themselves without effort. They let friendships fade. They take romantic partners for granted. They become distant from family. Then they wonder why relationships fail or why they feel isolated despite having had many connections. Relationships are like physical fitness. They require ongoing maintenance. Without maintenance, they deteriorate. This deterioration is not because relationships were bad. Deterioration happens because maintenance was absent. This skill is essential because quality relationships are foundation for life satisfaction, support during difficulties, and meaning throughout life. Here is how to develop relationship maintenance skill. First, understand that all relationships require ongoing investment, not just initial effort. Many men invest heavily when relationship is new, then coast assuming relationship will maintain itself. This coasting guarantees deterioration. Romantic relationships require ongoing dating, communication, and attention. Friendships require ongoing contact and shared experiences. Family relationships require ongoing engagement. Professional relationships require ongoing networking and support. This ongoing investment is not huge time requirement. Small consistent investment maintains relationships. Large initial investment followed by nothing allows deterioration. Second, implement regular contact schedule for important relationships, preventing drift through neglect. Without schedule, contact becomes random. Random contact means some relationships get neglected for months, creating distance. Create contact schedule for important relationships. Weekly contact for close relationships like partner or best friends. Monthly contact for important but less frequent relationships like good friends or family. Quarterly contact for valuable professional relationships or distant friends you want to maintain. Schedule ensures contact happens consistently rather than when you happen to think of it. This prevents accidental neglect. Third, prioritize quality interaction over mere contact quantity. Contact can be shallow or meaningful. Text exchange is contact, but provides little connection. Deep conversation is contact that strengthens relationship. When you connect with important people, make interaction meaningful. Give full attention. Have real conversation. Do activities together. This quality interaction builds connection where shallow contact does not. Better to have one quality interaction monthly than 10 shallow texts weekly. Prioritize depth over frequency while maintaining minimum frequency, preventing total drift. Fourth, show up during difficult times, not just during good times. Many men are present when relationships are easy, but disappear when difficulties arise. This fair weather presence is not real relationship maintenance. Relationships are strengthened through mutual support during difficulties. Be present when friend faces crisis. Support partner during hard times. This presence during difficulty creates bond. Shallow good time presence never creates. Show up means being available, offering help, providing support, or simply being present during difficulties. This demonstrates relationship matters beyond convenience. Fifth, express appreciation and gratitude regularly, preventing taking relationships for granted. When people feel taken for granted, relationships deteriorate. Expressed appreciation maintains relationship health. Regularly tell important people you appreciate them. Thank partner for specific things they do. Express gratitude to friends for their presence in your life. Acknowledge family members' contributions. This appreciation does not need to be elaborate. Simple, sincere expression is sufficient, but it must happen regularly. Unexpressed appreciation is invisible. Sixth, repair ruptures promptly rather than allowing small conflicts to fester into distance. All relationships have conflicts and misunderstandings. These ruptures are normal. What determines relationship health is whether ruptures are repaired. When conflict or misunderstanding occurs, address it promptly. Apologize if you are wrong. Clear up misunderstanding. Have difficult conversation. Do not let rupture create permanent distance. Small ruptures repaired quickly have minimal impact. Small ruptures ignored become major distance. Repair skill is essential relationship maintenance. Seventh, balance investment across multiple relationships, preventing dependence on single relationship. Many men invest all relationship energy in romantic partner, neglecting friendships and family. This creates unhealthy dependence and isolation when romantic relationship struggles. Maintain multiple important relationships. Romantic partner, close friends, family, professional relationships. This distribution creates support network, reducing pressure on any single relationship and preventing isolation. Balanced investment does not mean equal time to all relationships. It means maintaining several important connections rather than putting everything into one relationship. Men who master relationship maintenance have strong support networks, stable romantic relationships, lasting friendships, and family connections throughout life. Men who lack this skill become isolated despite having had many connections because neglect caused all relationships to fade. Relationship health requires ongoing maintenance. This is ninth essential skill. Develop relationship maintenance. Understand relationships require ongoing investment. Implement regular contact schedule. Prioritize quality interaction over mere quantity. Show up during difficult times. Express appreciation regularly. Repair ruptures promptly. Balance investment across multiple relationships. Keep important connections healthy through sustained effort. Skill 10. Continuous learning, acquiring new capabilities throughout life. The 10th and final essential skill every man must master is continuous learning. ability to acquire new skills and knowledge throughout life, rather than assuming formal education was sufficient. Most men stop learning when formal education ends. They assume their degree or training provided everything needed. They coast on existing knowledge. They resist new approaches. They become obsolete as world changes. 20 years into career, they have 1 year of knowledge repeated 20 times, rather than 20 years of accumulated learning. Continuous learning is not about collecting credentials. Continuous learning is about systematically acquiring capabilities that increase your effectiveness and value throughout life. This skill is essential because the world changes. Skills that were valuable become obsolete. New skills become necessary. Men who stop learning become less effective over time. Men who continue learning compound capabilities becoming more valuable. Here is how to develop continuous learning skill. First, adopt identity as learner, not as finished product. Many men see themselves as finished. They completed education. They know what they know. They are who they are. This finished identity prevents learning. Learner identity sees yourself as perpetually developing. You are not finished. You can acquire new capabilities. You can improve existing skills. You can change perspectives. This identity makes continuous learning natural rather than forced. Ask yourself, am I learner or am I finished? Answer determines whether you continue developing or stagnate. Second, allocate specific time weekly for learning, preventing learning from being perpetual someday activity. Without allocated time, learning never happens. Busy schedule consumes all time. Learning remains in tension, never executed. Allocate minimum 3 to 5 hours weekly for deliberate learning. Schedule this time like any important commitment. During this time, engage in focused learning activity, reading, courses, practice, whatever develops targeted skill or knowledge. This allocation ensures learning happens weekly, accumulating over time rather than being perpetual in tension. Third, identify specific skill or knowledge gaps relevant to your goals, directing learning strategically. Random learning is better than no learning, but strategic learning produces much higher returns. Random learning might be interesting but irrelevant. Strategic learning improves your effectiveness in areas that matter. Identify what capabilities would most improve your professional effectiveness, relationship quality, health, or life satisfaction. These gaps are learning priorities. Focus learning time on these high-value areas. Strategic learning creates compound returns. Random learning creates interesting but disconnected knowledge. Fourth, use deliberate practice, not just passive consumption, for skill development. Most men consume information without application. They read books, watch videos, take courses. Information goes in but capability does not develop. Consumption without practice does not create skill. Deliberate practice is applying information to actual problems. Reading about communication, then practicing communication in real conversations. Learning programming concepts, then writing actual code. Studying fitness principles, then implementing training program. This application converts information into capability. Consumption alone does not. Fifth, seek feedback on learning application, revealing gaps between understanding and performance. You can think you understand something while actually misunderstanding. You can believe you are applying concept correctly while actually applying it wrong. Feedback reveals these gaps. When learning new skill, seek feedback from someone competent. Are you understanding correctly? Are you applying effectively? What gaps exist? This feedback accelerates learning by preventing practice of incorrect understanding. Without feedback, you can practice wrong technique for years believing you are improving when actually you are ingraining poor performance. Sixth, teach others what you are learning, solidifying understanding and revealing gaps. Teaching is a powerful learning tool. Explaining concept to someone else reveals whether you actually understand it. Questions from learners expose gaps in your understanding. When learning something new, find opportunity to teach it. Write about it. Explain to friend. Present to colleague. This teaching forces clarity, revealing what you actually understand versus what you thought you understood. Teaching also cements learning. Information you teach becomes much more solidly encoded than information you only consume. Seventh, build learning into professional development, advancing career through capability expansion. Professional learning should not be separate from career. Professional learning is how you increase your value and advance your career. Identify what skills or knowledge would make you more valuable professionally. Pursue learning in those areas systematically. This learning creates advancement opportunities and protects against obsolescence. Men who continue learning throughout career have increasing value and options. Men who stop learning have declining relevance and fewer options as their static knowledge becomes obsolete. Men who master continuous learning compound capabilities throughout life, remain relevant and valuable professionally, adapt to changing circumstances through new learning, and experience personal growth continuously. Men who lack this skill stagnate, become obsolete professionally, struggle to adapt when circumstances change, and stop developing after formal education ends. This is 10th and final essential skill. Develop continuous learning. Adopt learner identity, not finished identity. Allocate specific weekly time for learning. Identify strategic skill gaps directing learning. Use deliberate practice, not just passive consumption. Seek feedback on application. Teach others, solidifying understanding. Build learning into professional development. Acquire new capabilities throughout life. From unprepared to competent across life domains. You now understand 10 essential skills every man must master by 30 or acquire after 30 if missed. Body maintenance. Practical competence. Money management. Conflict navigation. Clear communication. Professional presence. Emotional regulation. Decision-making under pressure. Relationship maintenance. Continuous learning. These are not optional luxuries. These are essential capabilities required for competent adult life. Skills separating men who navigate life successfully from men who struggle perpetually despite credentials or intelligence. Here is what you must understand about these skills. Most men lack several or most of them. Educational system does not teach them. Professional training is too specialized. Society assumes men will acquire them through osmosis. This assumption fails for most men, creating generation of credentialed but incompetent adults. You are not defective for lacking these skills. You were never taught them systematically, but you are responsible for acquiring them now that you understand their necessity. The critical insight is that age is not barrier. Whether you are 25 acquiring skills proactively, or 45 acquiring skills you should have learned decades ago, these skills are learnable through deliberate practice. The only question is whether you will acquire them deliberately or continue drifting without them. Most men will continue drifting. They will blame education system for not teaching these skills. They will resent that they must learn what seems like it should be obvious. They will make excuses about being too busy or too old. They will remain incompetent across multiple life domains while possessing narrow specialized expertise. You can choose differently. You can acquire these skills systematically. You can transform from unprepared to competent across life domains. You can become man who handles adult life competently rather than man who struggles despite credentials. Here is how to begin acquiring essential skills immediately. Assess current level honestly in each skill domain. For each of 10 skills, rate yourself honestly, competent, developing, or lacking. This assessment reveals priorities. Skills you lack entirely are highest priority. Skills you are developing are medium priority. Skills you already have competently require only maintenance. Focus on highest priority skills first. You cannot develop all 10 simultaneously. Choose 2 or 3 highest priority skills lacking entirely. These become focus for next 3 to 6 months. For each priority skill, implement specific development plan. Body maintenance priority gets systematic exercise program, nutrition framework, and sleep protection implemented. Money management priority gets expense tracking, budget creation, and debt repayment plan implemented. Each skill has specific actionable development plan. Implement plans consistently for 3 to 6 months. Skills develop through sustained practice, not through brief effort. Consistency over months creates real capability. Inconsistent effort creates no capability. After 3 to 6 months, priority skills will have moved from lacking to developing. Choose next priority skills and repeat process. Over 2 to 3 years, you will have developed competence across all 10 essential skill domains. This timeline might seem long, but 2 to 3 years will pass regardless. Question is whether you use that time developing essential skills or continuing to lack them. Men who invest 2 years in skill development transform their life competence. Men who do not remain unprepared indefinitely. These skills compound. Body maintenance improves energy, affecting everything else. Money management reduces stress, improving relationships and work performance. Emotional regulation improves decision-making and relationships. Communication skills improve professional effectiveness and personal relationships. Each skill amplifies others, creating compound effect. In 5 years, men with all 10 essential skills and men lacking them will have completely different life experiences. Competent men will handle challenges, maintain health and relationships, advance professionally, make good decisions, and continue developing. Incompetent men will struggle with money, health, relationships, and stagnate professionally despite credentials. The choice is yours. Most men will choose continuation of current incompetence because developing skills requires effort and admission that you currently lack them. This is too threatening to ego, so they avoid acknowledgement and remain incompetent. You can choose competence. You can acknowledge gaps without shame. You can develop systematically. You can become a man who handles adult life competently across all domains. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming education system. Stop claiming you are too busy or too old. Start acquiring essential skills deliberately. These are not suggestions. These are requirements for competent adult life. Master them by 30 or learn them after 30. Either way, acquire them. Become competent across life domains. Acquire essential skills. Navigate adult life successfully. Begin now. If you made it to the end of this audiobook, you are serious about building real capability. Most people stop halfway through. You stayed. That tells me something about your commitment to becoming better. This is exactly the kind of person this channel is built for. People who want substance over motivation, systems over inspiration, deep frameworks over surface tactics. If that resonates with you, subscribe to this channel. Every audiobook here follows the same principle. Real capability development through practical frameworks you can apply immediately. No fluff, no motivational empty calories, just systematic approaches to becoming genuinely better. New audiobooks on competence, discipline, influence, and strategic thinking published regularly. Subscribe so you do not miss them. And if this audiobook added value, leave a comment sharing which essential skill you will develop first. I read every single comment. Your engagement helps these audiobooks reach other serious people who will actually use this information. Thank you for listening all the way through. Now go build what you learned.